All right. Sorry, this one. So when we have this solved, now we should add the email and a password or something. Email and name, sorry, not password. That would be weird. Adding people passwords. So let's start with just adding stuff. So we know we don't have the data now. But we might one day, who knows. We managed to format date, get some people's secret identities. Yeah, so I'm using TypeScript, so it's doing type checking for me. It's super useful too, if you haven't done that. Comparing to like plain JavaScript, I guess. Coming from more backend background, so we used to have types everywhere. And I just got scared on JavaScript with no types. It's like a mental crutch, I guess. So now it's saying there's no property email on this order stats because I haven't defined it, which is true. And that computer has a point. So when we check this, it actually has these fields only. But we can define more. Right? Let's say email. Maybe let's call it customer. Let's call it attendee. No, customer. So why I'm hesitant to call it customer is because I need to make sure to understand in my head who's customer and who's isn't. Because this is software as a service that I'm going to offer to people to use, or like we're working already on prototype. And there are going to be two types of people using it. One is the organizers, and one is the people going to the events. So I just decided right now to call customer. Yeah, that's the name of the person going to the event, and client gonna be the person organizing it. I can also call it organizer, right? That would make more sense. But attendee, that's hard to spell. I mean, customer doesn't seem to be easier, clearly. Customer, yeah, it seems right. It's not number, it's string. And also email is a string. Alright, that's it's pretty good, I guess. Right? Type system hits again, customer name. Alright, so when we look at this, there are two empty places because we don't have the dates, but that's okay. And we don't have the headings here, so let's do that. Let's add headings. If you notice why I'm avoiding the hard work to actually get the data, just doing this, not that it's easy, but it is kind of easy. Okay, so we're gonna add two more texts. One it's gonna be, and here it's let's think who's gonna read this text, right? And it's gonna be read by the organizer. So for them it's attendee. For them it's not client. I guess it is as well, but attendee email, attendee name. But then I'm thinking again, it's kind of implied. Let's make it simple. Let's go with email. Here I can call it attendee. I said customer, right? Breaking my own rules while I'm making them. Customer. Alright. And it's not order, it's name. Good point. Right, so this is a text file. I talked about it before. Here I specify all the text that is being shown to the users of the system, so that I have a single place where I can go and edit it or translate it to different language and such stuff. So yeah, we're gonna add more stuff here. Customer name. So now we have all the columns. like the headings, and then we have all the data kind of. If we look here, this looks much better, right? Yeah. So this should start actually working while we get the right data from the backend. But this could be it for the front end, I guess. Just checking time, 14:08. I need to pick up my son from preschool. Yeah, gonna clear this a bit. Gonna commit these changes as well. And let's name it. Sorry, that must have been horrible sound. Yeah, user identification. That's very precise. Perfect. Yes. Let's check one more thing then. So right now, this is the backend. I mean, this is Postman, but we're sending requests to backend, and we're getting back this data. We would like to get more data from it, which we don't have right now, but yeah, it's a lot of work actually. So let me first design a database in my head. So what we have is SQL tables under each resource. Let's switch to backend, and I can talk over the SQL code I have. I'm using SQLize, something like that. And yeah, you use migrations, that's how they call it. It's a bunch of not SQL, it's actually JavaScript code that says what it needs to do. So in this case, create table, drop table, and each migration does stuff. You can do pure SQL queries here, but you can use also query interface as we're doing here. And so what we need to do is, right now I'm thinking how to do this. So we could either add 2 more columns, the name and email, on the order itself, and enrich it when we get the data, which is probably a good idea. Another option would be to create a separate table just for the attendees information, which would be also nice in case we would start having like accounts for people, for attendees actually, because a separate table means you don't repeat the stuff, but it's a bit more hassle at the beginning maybe, because then there's like foreign keys and you need to connect table. So yeah, I think I'm just gonna add sub columns there. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. Because if I would create a separate table, which seems a good solution long term, if I would switch to actually using that table for something, I would have to deal with duplicity somehow. That means I would need to merge that data. Yeah, it sounds like a lot of work. Gonna do that sometimes in the future. For now, I'm just gonna add 2 columns to the order table. So if we look here, I have a migration create orders, create table, right, orders. Here we describe what columns it has. But because I've already deployed this and applied this to production database, these migrations, what I need to do next is create a new migration that's gonna add columns to the table. Now, I don't know how to do that really, but that's okay. Oh, what was that? some crazy stuff. This way, I guess. And then there is a Sequelize guess CLI that creates migration files like so, like I have few of them. I don't know how to even spell it, so that's, oh, it's right here, so I can just copy it. And npx npm is the package manager that we're using to download stuff for Node and use that. And npx is just saying, kinda, I guess, run it remotely. Don't download it. Not really sure. So that's how I would call it. But it says db prints help, right? Create, yeah. Right, so it might be db migration create. Let's try that. Ah, here it is. Alright, migration generates a new migration file. That's exactly what we want. Migration generate. Yeah, we need to put a name to it. So rich order customer data. That's not gonna be too long, is it? Where is the file? I was hoping it would create it here, but it totally created it somewhere else. Oh yeah, it created this folder right here. That's good. Nah, it was my fault, of course. I was supposed to run it in the schema folder, but I didn't. That's what I get. Alright, so now we have this migration file that's gonna run whenever it didn't run. And I have in my backend service, I have a code that basically goes through all the migrations and tries to run them. And the framework, Sequelize, or I guess library, I don't know. And it creates a table in a database to keep information about which migrations were run already and which are new and should be run. Because they're not always idempotent. What's that word? Like you can run it multiple times without breaking stuff. It's not always like that. So yeah. So that's a thing. And these migrations in Sequelize, they have two things, just up and down. So if you want to apply the migration, this is the code it's going to run. If you want to revert the migration, this is what would run. So what we want to do is query instance, query interface. No, that's what we did. How did it? Oh yeah, it's JavaScript, you see. There's no type system here. It doesn't help me much. Right? It's just yeah. I actually need to go to Sequelize lab documentation, figure out what I'm doing here. So let's do it. Sequelize this thing. That's column. Not CLI. Oh yeah, here you go. Not too hard. Yeah, let's just take this. Stack Overflow for the win, again. Gonna have to leave them at half. So what time is it? How do I see what time is it? I don't know, man. 14:18. Okay. Still have 10 minutes. Now, we don't want that. And I guess the first parameter is the table. So that's orders in my case, I think. Second is the column name. And this should say something like string. Ooh, does help, or? Nah, I think it's string. Then of course we want one more, which is orders, but name. Also string. Okay, yes. And yeah, name, I guess. Now, second lines are somehow darker than these ones, and that's because we have two return statements. These things are async, I think, so that's why they're returning them. So what we're gonna do is just say this, and rather than return them, oh, should we return them? Nah, it's fine. Just wait them. Please make sure that those things are ran. Alright, and this is not a sync, so let's make it a sync. I'm gonna check seed currencies. I think I did something like this. Yeah, right, so I did a sync and wait here. And yeah, that's it. So now I'm gonna check if it actually, oh, it actually already ran it. Probably. Or did you run it? Yes! Now it ran it and it broke, which is really good. Take at least 3 arguments, table, attribute, and attribute definition. Uh-huh. So I assume this is like a null, so it doesn't count. And for that, I'm gonna check what's the current. Yeah, it's like this, right? That's the correct format. What did I write? I wrote something different. Alright, DB updated. Now we can check even, because I have a phadmin running on Part3. So phadmin is a tool that lets you kind of spy on your database. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna check my database, see if the new columns are there. Should be. Ugh. Yeah. Cool. So I put bunch of test. No, I don't remember, man. No, do this. Yes. Save. Okay. I have 2 databases? What? Yeah, I was testing another thing before, so that's why I have 2 databases, but it's not important. I'm not gonna talk about it. No. But you see, in this very small font, that orders now has email and name. And if we get all the data here, you can see that we have the orders and they have nulls here. So we're starting to get somewhere. Now we need to do just 2 things. Return these on the API call, which is easy. But the more important part is to fill this when we confirm order, which would be not that hard actually. So you know, that's mostly when you write a code. If you break it down to small pieces in your head, or you know, in Trello or whatever, it's manageable then. But yeah, I'm gonna have to go soon. I mean, maybe we can still do that part. Yeah, let's do that part, because I still have like 5 minutes, so that should be enough. So now we have a table with these columns here, and in our stats endpoint, in this one, we want them to be returned. So that should be quite straightforward, hopefully. So as I mentioned, I'm using Feathers.js, which is an awesome tool. Feathers.js, like, you know, the birds kind of thing with JS in the end. It's a tool to generate your backend. So you say, give me a service, they call it service, and it's gives you all the endpoints for given resource. So in my case, I said, give me a service for events, and it created an endpoint / events, and did all the normal stuff you would have to write manually, like integrations with the database and all that. So now when you write post request, REST request post towards the correct endpoint that you would expect, like / events, it will create one row in a database, and you don't need to do much. But if you want to do some more stuff, they have a bunch of goodies for you to do. So for example, hooks is a main thing they can do. So for example, when we look at events, so when you want to create event, you need to be authenticated person, and then I'm doing some more stuff, and so on. But to get an event, get information about the event, you don't need to be authenticated, because that needs to be accessible for everybody, so on. And then you have the actual class, and you can change the implementation of the default things that you get. The default things you get is, you know, go to database, fetch, and return. But sometimes you want to do some more. So in my case, when I'm updating an event, I actually want to update the prices as well at the same transaction. So I had to hijack this. But can totally recommend. It's open source, it's free, you can just use it. The guys are quite reactive on what they're using, like an instant messaging tool. Either Slack or Gitter, or one of those things. Like, I asked them twice already, or 3 times maybe, and I always got my answer within a few hours. So it's a really nice tool. One thing I was looking into is GraphQL, so I wanted to make it a GraphQL, but I already had a lot of stuff done, so I figured, I'm going to do it in the next project. But they should support GraphQL as well. They have some built on Feathers.js Plus, I think, which does that somehow, but I don't know details. Anyway, here. There's a service, organizer event stats. If you look here, it says, it's using Express, which is Node's most famous library to do backend stuff, I guess. I don't know, library, tool, those terms confuse me. Here specify path. So you're saying whenever comes a request to this path, run this my new cool service. And if we look into how Postman works, so this is exactly the path we're calling, and then some more. Then the identifier, right? And if we look into class here, so the get method expects an identifier. There's a plumbing inside, already figures out that if you put something after it, it's probably identifier, and if it's a get request, then it's going to call this method get. And what we're doing right now is doing some nonsense here and there. So I wanted to have support for both ID as a numeric value and identifier as a string. So that's what I'm doing right here. And yeah, let's see. Oh yeah, and then I have a query, like it's up here, more complex query to get actual data. Yeah, I guess we need to change this, right? So this is a query to get all the statistics per order. So O here is the order. And yeah, so we're gonna add, okay, we're gonna get order, email, yeah, let's keep it this way, and order name. And yeah, for you SQL geeks, you might know that we need to put it to group by as well, because otherwise it would crash, right? Because we're doing summings, like how much money does that order brings to the people and how many tickets is it. Yeah, this looks pretty good. So I saved it, so it should restart. It did something. And if we check Postman and send a request now, we totally get email and name here. It's null because the values are null, but wow, we can actually fake it, right? Faking until you make it. We can say Irvin here is the name of the customer. And somehow you need to save it. I don't know, save data changes. If I send this, I totally got Irvin/M, which is the best name ever. And yeah, so this actually right now goes to database. It's all good. Next point that I'm gonna do, probably offline, because yeah, I don't have time to do it now, but is to, when I get back the order confirmation, I need to save the real names, not fake names anymore, and the emails. So that's what I'm gonna get. That's what I'm gonna do. Well, yeah, anyway, this was super fun. Yeah. Thank you, people, to join me